The late afternoon sun cast golden light across the Somerset Estate's manicured gardens as I adjusted my understated navy dress. My sister Emma's wedding was the social event of the season, with every detail orchestrated to perfection, including where to hide her embarrassing younger sister. The service entrance is around back, the wedding planner Melissa pointed without looking up from her tablet. Staff dinner is at 6. I checked my phone. 3 missed calls from my executive team about tonight's emergency acquisition. Actually, I'm the bride's sister. Oh. Melissa's perfectly lined lips formed a surprised, "Oh, you're the one who left banking?" Something like that. I smiled, thinking of the offshore accounts and global holdings that would make these wedding costs look like pocket change. Well, she consulted her seating chart. You're at table 19. Near the kitchen. Of course. Where else would Emma seat her sister who'd thrown away her finance career to play entrepreneur? Emma was concerned you might feel uncomfortable with the other guests. My mother appeared, champagne in hand. You know, given your current situation. My current situation included owning the private aviation company that had flown in half these guests, but they didn't need to know that yet. Is that what you're wearing? Mother frowned at my dress, not recognizing the hand-stitched Parisian label that cost more than her monthly country club dues. It seemed appropriate, I said, checking another message about tonight's board meeting. At least you could afford something decent, she sighed. Though heaven knows how with your whatever it is you do now. What I did now involved controlling majority shares in 3 Fortune 500 companies, but that revelation could wait. The catering staff is gathering for photos, Melissa called out helpfully. In case you want to join them. My phone buzzed again. My pilot requesting final clearance for tonight's exit strategy. Perfect timing. Darling. Emma floated over in her designer gown. You came, though. Why aren't you in uniform with the other staff? Didn't want to outshine the bride, I replied, thinking of the emergency board meeting that would interrupt her perfectly planned reception. Oh, you, she laughed. Always with the jokes. Like that time you said you were starting a company. As if anyone would invest in. The distant sound of helicopter blades cut through the evening air. How irritating, Mother frowned. Some people have no respect for private events. I checked my watch, Swiss-made, worth more than this entire wedding, and smiled. Actually, that's for me. The kitchen doesn't need helicopter deliveries, Emma said dismissively. No, I agreed as the sleek black aircraft appeared over the trees, its spotlight sweeping the garden. But CEOs sometimes do. The wedding planner's tablet slipped from her hands as the helicopter, my helicopter with my company's discreet logo on the tail, descended toward the estate's private landing pad. Ma'am, my pilot's voice came through my earpiece. The board is assembled for the emergency meeting. Tokyo markets open in an hour. Mother's champagne glass froze halfway to her lips. What is happening? Business emergency, I said simply, watching their faces as realization slowly dawned. You know how it is when you're acquiring a multinational corporation. Acquiring a... Emma's perfect makeup couldn't hide her growing pallor. What are you talking about? The helicopter landed as my security team, disguised as catering staff all afternoon, moved into position. Through the estate's windows, I could see guests gathering to watch the unexpected arrival. Table 19 was it? I smiled at Melissa, whose tablet now showed breaking news about my company's latest billion-dollar move. I'm afraid I'll have to skip the staff dinner. Board meetings, hostile takeovers, you understand. The evening sun caught my helicopter's polished exterior, reflecting light across the garden like a spotlight on their misconceptions. But you left finance, Mother stammered. You gave up your career. I left traditional finance, I corrected as my pilot approached with a portfolio worth more than the estate. Started my own thing. Turns out I'm quite good at it. Emma's designer dress suddenly looked less impressive as my actual net worth dawned on her. Now, I checked my phone one final time. Shall we discuss where I'm really sitting at this wedding? Or should I take my helicopter and my company's significant wedding gift somewhere else? That's your helicopter? Emma's voice quivered as she watched my security team secure the landing zone. The same men she'd dismissed as catering help all afternoon. One of them, I replied, accepting a leather portfolio from my pilot. The others are in London, Dubai, and I believe Tokyo at the moment. Hard to keep track sometimes. Mother clutched her champagne glass tighter. But your apartment, that tiny place above the shops. You mean my company's first headquarters? I smiled. The entire building is mine now, along with most of that block. And the shops you think I live above? All shell companies for my international holdings. The wedding planner was frantically scrolling through news alerts on her tablet. Oh my God, you're that Alexandra Chin? The mysterious CEO of Phoenix Global. The same, I said, watching the color drain from Emma's face. Though most people don't make the connection. Something about expecting success to look more obvious. Through the estate's windows, guests in designer outfits pressed against the glass, watching the helicopter and its clearly elite crew. The same guest who'd been told to avoid that unfortunate Chin sister at the reception. The catering company, Emma whispered suddenly. The one you recommended. Is one of my subsidiaries, I confirmed. Along with the estate's management firm, the security service, and, ironically, the private aviation company that flew in half your guest list. Mother's champagne glass slipped, but one of my security team caught it smoothly. The Christmas party. When you said you couldn't afford a gift. I bought the company Dad was trying to acquire instead, I said. Consider it a delayed present. The paperwork should be hitting his desk right about now. My phone buzzed with another update. Markets across Asia responding to news of tonight's emergency acquisition. The same markets that would soon reveal exactly who held the real power in the Chin family. Table 19, I mused, examining the seating chart over Melissa's shoulder. Next to the kitchen. Where you seat the help, right? We can fix that, the wedding planner stammered, suddenly realizing who she'd been dismissing all day. No need, I smiled, checking the portfolio my pilot had brought. I'm afraid I can't stay for dinner. The board's waiting and this acquisition won't close itself. Emma's perfect bridal glow had faded considerably. What acquisition? Somerset Hospitality Group, I said casually. Including, as of about 10 minutes ago, this estate. Beautiful venue. I can see why you chose it. The staff will stay on, of course, though management might change. The evening breeze carried the sound of more approaching helicopters. My executive team arriving for the emergency meeting. You own the estate? Mother's voice was barely a whisper. Along with the resort chain, the golf courses, and that lovely vineyard you're serving tonight. I checked my watch. The merger documents are being finalized as we speak. Perfect timing, really. I do love a celebration. Through the gardens, my actual security detail was taking up positions, their discreet earpieces and perfect suits marking them as far more than mere event staff. The gift registry, Emma said weakly. When you said you'd handle the honeymoon resort. I bought it last month, I nodded. The entire chain, actually. Seems simpler than just booking a suite. Though given tonight's meeting, you might want to reconsider those travel dates. The wedding planner's tablet showed breaking news about Phoenix Global's latest acquisition. My face finally revealed as the mysterious CEO who'd been reshaping global markets. Now, I straightened my simple navy dress, hand-stitched by artisans who worked exclusively for me, about that seating arrangement. The setting sun painted the Somerset Gardens in shades of gold as 3 more helicopters appeared on the horizon. My executive team arriving for the emergency board meeting. Each aircraft bore the subtle Phoenix Global logo that graced half the luxury brands at this very wedding. Those private jets at the airport, Mother said faintly, watching the helicopters approach. The ones you said you couldn't afford to book. Are from my aviation fleet, I finished. Though I prefer helicopter travel these days. Less flashy, ironically enough. Emma's wedding planner was now frantically rearranging place cards, trying to find a more appropriate seat for the CEO who owned not just the venue, but apparently half the luxury services at this event. The wedding favors, Emma whispered, horrified realization dawning. Those simple crystal pieces you insisted on handling. From my boutique glass factory in Venice, I nodded. The same one that supplies the royal families of Europe. Though most of your guests probably haven't noticed the maker's mark yet. Through the estate's windows, I could see Dad arriving, his face ashen as he clutched what I assumed were the acquisition papers for his company. Perfect timing. Your job interviews, Mother stammered. The ones you said weren't going well were actually merger negotiations, I smiled. Quite successful ones, as Dad's about to discover. Though I did interview your country club's new management team last month. Lovely people now that they work for me. The security team, my real security team, not the catering staff disguise, had fully secured the perimeter as my executives began landing. Each stepped out in bespoke suits that made the wedding guests' designer outfits look practically off the rack. Table 19, I mused, picking up one of the crystal champagne flutes, from my private label naturally. By the kitchen, where you seat the help. Interesting choice. We can move you to the main table, Emma said quickly, her perfect bridal makeup unable to hide her mounting panic. With the family. I'm afraid I have a different table to attend, I replied, checking another message about the Tokyo markets. One that actually controls the global luxury market you're so desperate to impress. Dad burst through the garden doors, acquisition papers in hand. Alexandra, these documents show that Phoenix Global now owns controlling interest in Chin Industries? I smiled. Yes, they do. The board meeting to discuss restructuring starts in 20 minutes. Perfect timing for a family chat, don't you think? The wedding guests were now openly staring as my executive team assembled, power brokers and market makers who made the socialites at this wedding look like small-town merchants. The loans for the wedding, Emma said suddenly, when the bank mysteriously approved everything. I own the bank, I said simply. Along with the designer who made your dress, the jeweler who supplied the rings, and the media company filming this lovely moment. Speaking of which, right on cue, reporters began arriving, not the local society photographers they'd hired, but international media alerted to Phoenix Global's latest acquisition. My acquisition. You see, I continued, accepting a portfolio from my chief of staff. While you were all busy deciding where to seat your embarrassing sister, I was deciding which global markets to acquire next. Funny how perspective works. Mother's perfectly manicured hand trembled as she reached for another champagne flute. All this time, while you were mocking my failed career. Yes. I checked the markets again. Tokyo's opening bell should be interesting tonight. Chin Industries stock is already responding to news of the acquisition. Through the estate's tall windows, the wedding guests finally saw the truth. The unfortunate Chin sister was the power they had been chasing all year. Emma, I said, handing her a folder. I gift the deed to that summer house you wanted. I bought it last week when the price dropped. My security formed a clear path to the helicopter, the same one the planner once called the service entrance. The board meeting awaits, I said, fixing my dress. We're restructuring tonight. Dad, you know the conference room, the one you once banned me from? The sunset stretched long shadows across the garden, marking the shift in power. Oh, and Emma, I added, table 19? Keep it. Someone should sit with the staff who made this happen. After all, I smiled as the helicopter's shadows touched her gown, that's where you place the people who own everything. Sometimes the best seat isn't at the head table. It's in the sky, watching everyone finally look up.